Hi everyone, this is Rob Gray from Arizona State University and PerceptionAction.com. In a paper published in 2005, Raul Oudejans built on some very nice work he had done previously looking at perceptual motor control in shooting a jump shot in basketball. Using occlusion glasses, he and his colleagues had found that the skilled players only need to see the rim for about 350 to 400 milliseconds to be able to achieve optimal shooting percentages. However, there were two important qualifications to this. First, they needed to receive the visual information as late as possible in their shooting action to be successful. For example, if they only saw the rim while they were bringing the ball up, they shot terribly. While if they only saw the rim just before they released the ball, they shot as well as under full vision conditions. Why was this the case? Because information gathered later in the unfolding action provides the most up-to-date information about the player's position relative to the rim, which will continuously change up until the moment of ball release. In his 2005 study, he sought to investigate whether the use of visual information in basketball shooting could be improved by constraining vision in practice using temporal occlusion. Specifically, the training was designed to improve the pickup of information in the final part of the action, just before the ball was released. This was achieved by occluding vision in the early part of the shot using liquid crystal occlusion glasses in the lab, which did not open until the ball was raised. I think this is an excellent example of the use of the CLA. The training is clearly designed to promote self-organization. In this study, the occlusion training group consisted of 6 players from the National Under-21 League in the Netherlands. Training lasted for 8 weeks, and as I mentioned, consisted of a combination of training in the lab with the Play-Doh occlusion glasses and on-court practice with the screen. The control group consisted of 4 players on the same team that just participated in regular basketball practice. Dependent measures taken pre- and post-training included both shooting percentages in the lab and shooting percentages over 12 games of real competition. Finally, using motion capture, the authors were also able to measure what they called the final period duration. That is, how long the players looked at the rim just before they released the ball. What was found? First, there was an increase in the final period duration for all participants in the experimental condition. On average, they looked at the rim during the final part of their shot for 20 milliseconds longer after training than they did before. This wasn't measured in the control group because they did not participate in the lab sessions. In terms of shooting percentages in the lab test, which is again only assessed for the training group, there was a significant increase in shooting percentage from 57 to 63% following training. In terms of shooting percentages in actual games, participants in the experimental group all showed increased performance, raising from 35 to 49% increase after training. So overall, some pretty good evidence to support the benefits of this kind of training. Finally, in another study published in 2012, Oudejans and colleagues found similar benefits of occlusion training for wheelchair basketball players. In this case, participants drove under a large screen that initially blocked their view of the basket. As soon as they saw the basket, they shot, again encouraging the use of late visual information. The screen training resulted in a significant increase in shooting percentages in on-court tests. So in sum, despite some caveats in terms of the experimental design, I think this set of studies by Oudejans and colleagues shows the potential benefits to skill acquisition of constraining vision through temporal occlusion. The main takeaway from today's episode is that if you're going to use some type of visual occlusion as a constraint in practice, my preference would be to use it in a systematic way consistent with the CLA, like spatial or temporal occlusion, rather than in an unsystematic way consistent with differential learning, like stroboscopic glasses. This is Rob Gray from ASU. Cheers for now, and keep 'em coupled.